Right, so for today's video, we have the third and I believe the final update on the pajama drama, the padrama, if you will. It's a situation we started covering right at the beginning, more stuffs came out. I thought it only made sense to kind of cover everything that came out, and like I said, this feels like it's a bit of an ending here. So a very fast recap in case you aren't aware of this situation. If you aren't aware of the situation, I would highly recommend checking out the other videos because like I said, this is going to be an incredibly fast recap. I'm going to miss out a lot of bits here. But there's two TikTokers that are sisters-in-law, there's Cecily and there's Samantha, and they recently released their own clothing brand, more specifically Christmas pajamas. This is the page right here on TikTok. It's called For The Mems. These are the pajamas that they're selling. They originally sold these pajamas for $98. That then got changed to $75 after people were complaining. The main complaints, other than the fact that the price is just high in general, was the fact that the materials that are listed on the website were cheap in a lot of people's eyes. More specifically, if we look at the website, it says it's 93% rayon and 7% spandex. And there was a bunch more issues that people had with the website itself, the way that they actually like shown the clothing on the website. It was all like creased and whatnot. Didn't really scream luxury like the price does. There was also some designs people had a problem with that they ended up having to change. There was then a situation we spoke about in the last video when a TikToker said they were going to purchase the products to review them to see if they're worth the price. Samantha then sent a message to that person saying that we've cancelled your order because you're defaming us, even though the person who was going to do the review never mentioned that they were going to leave a negative review. They just said they were going to do a review. And then there was a bunch of other stuff that we mentioned in the other videos. I'm not going to go too much into it. There was some stuff with like Cecily's like friend, Avery Woods, who's another TikToker, where Cecily liked a comment basically suggesting that Avery Woods should be getting hate as well. There was a bunch of other stuff. And actually, regarding that comment that Cecily liked about Avery Woods, kind of suggesting that she should maybe get hate as well, we do have an update on that since I recorded the video you're watching now. That's going to be towards the end of the video because Avery Woods has actually addressed it on her podcast and she says some pretty interesting stuff, so yeah, that's going to come up later on. Well, since my last video, there's a bunch of new updates. We've got someone who's actually left a review on the product now, who's received the product. We can actually see what it looks like. We've also got an attorney speaking out and saying that there's some stuff that's quite sketchy about the way that this brand is communicated to people. And then we've also got a video from Cecily to look at. But first of all, let's actually go to the review. Now, this is a video uploaded by a TikToker called Maggie Norzo, or Norzau, I'm so sorry I pronounced that wrong, where she starts off the video by saying that this is going to be a completely unbiased review. She wasn't really familiar with the people who released the pajamas in the first place, so she's going to treat this video as a pajama review and not an influencer pajama review.
If you're looking for an unbiased review of the For The Mems PJs, you came to the right place. I feel like I don't even have to say this, but obviously I bought these with my own money. It's a review of the PJs, not the people who made them. I actually don't follow them and I don't really know that much about them, so this is a PJ review, not an influencer making PJs review.
Maggie then says that she has no problem in buying expensive clothing as long as the quality is actually good and the experience is good and whatnot. But then she goes on to open the pajamas and she says the materials are very sheer and they even sent the wrong size.
Okay, the material does feel like it would be comfortable, but it is actually very sheer. And I ordered an extra large and they sent me the wrong size. They sent me an XXL.
Now, what's interesting about this whole wrong size thing is that you actually buy the pajamas as a set. So you pick one size and that is for the pants and for the top, right? But for some reason, they both came different sizes.
First part of the review is bad because they sent me the wrong size. I checked this bag to see if the right size was on here and it's not. It says 3X on here and the pants are 2X. Let's see if we have the same problem with the shirt. This does say extra large. It is in fact an extra large.
So to me, that doesn't really make much sense. I'd kind of get it more if they were both the wrong size, because then they've just sent out like a XXL instead of an XL like set. But here we actually have the right size top with the wrong size pants. It doesn't really make that much sense. Also, if you remember in the previous videos, the description for the sizes didn't make any sense either. Like there was no size chart with actual measurements. All they had said was that the pants run long, but not too long, which obviously is very vague, but here we get to see how long they actually are.
Only sizing info that I could find on these were that the pants ran long, but not too long. I'm 5'7", so I'm kind of tall. These run pretty long. Like, my foot is completely covered. I mean, granted, these are one size up than I normally wear, but I'm not against a 2X.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a problem when there isn't a size chart and there's just some vague description saying that they are long but not too long. Because, I mean, if you're looking at this right here, that definitely screams too long to me. But either way, Maggie then ends this video by saying that she doesn't believe that the pajamas are worth $75.
I know a lot of people were waiting for this review, and I hope I didn't let you down, but the verdict is that I would not spend $75 on these, and I'm not against investing money in quality pieces. Website, the wrong size and the extremely long length of these would have me saying that no, I would not spend $75 on another pair of these.
Which, I mean, that seems fair to me, right? $75 for pajamas, very expensive. You would expect some really good quality. Obviously, if they come in the wrong size as well, you're going to be disappointed. And hopefully that gets fixed, right? I guess this is going to be like a test with the customer service to make sure it does get fixed, because obviously she can't refund them. There's a policy on the website saying that she can't get a refund for these products. So all she can do is send them back and get the right size. It's a bit of a faff on, but hopefully that does get sorted. MARKIE also uploaded another video where she responded to some comments. There was a lot of comments on that original video saying that the colours didn't match between like the pants and the top. MARKIE says that they do in her eyes, and the reason why she thinks people might think they don't is because the fabric's really sheer. So if there's like a double layer, you can kind of see through that.
So a lot of comments were saying that the pants and top look like different colors. I actually don't believe that they are. When I held them up close, they did look the same. But I think what you might be seeing is like the fabric is kind of sheer. So anywhere where there's a double layer, it does look a little bit different than when there's only one single layer.
And another thing people noticed in the comment section was that the buttons were also like a different color than what they were advertised on the website.
And the other thing I wanted to address is something that a commenter actually pointed out to me, and I did not notice this, although I do remember reading it on the website. Cecily is modeling PJs here that have white buttons, and the description does say it has pearl buttons on it. So although I think the blue is fine, I don't think there's anything wrong with having blue here. Sometimes when you're spending a little bit more on an item, you do fall in love with the details and it makes it fun or exciting to buy.
Yeah, so obviously it goes without saying, right? Different colour buttons, not exactly the biggest deal in the world, right? But again, if you are spending so much money, you would probably expect everything to look like the pictures, especially in the description it does say white pearl buttons. Maybe there is someone who would prefer them buttons and might be disappointed. Again, it's not exactly the biggest deal on its own, but I guess when you add this on top of everything else that has been said, it kind of makes everything look a bit like a mess, doesn't it? Now, one thing that is also worth noting is that the website has actually been changed after this review. It now says blue buttons instead of white pearl buttons, so they've changed that now. But either way, let's actually get to a video by an attorney. So this is from Shannon Scott, who made a video basically saying that she's an attorney, and internet drama doesn't usually get her attention, but this one did.
I'm Shannon, an attorney in Jacksonville, Florida, and normally influencer drama doesn't catch my attention, but this situation did. So let's talk about the For the Mems pajama drama.
Shannon then mentions that she's not overly familiar with these creators other than a previous situation had happened.
Hence, it is all over my For You page because this is what TikTok is currently talking about, and I don't know these creators other than I was familiar with Cecily because of her now infamous trip to Disney in the middle of a hurricane.
Now, one thing I will say is that when I watched this video, this bit actually caught me by surprise because I didn't make the connection between the two people. If you don't know, there was a situation that was happening during Hurricane Milton where a TikToker was getting a lot of backlash because she was taking a family to Disneyland in Florida. And I just didn't link the two together. I didn't realize we were talking about the same person here. And as we can see by this article, in case you weren't aware of the situation, it says, mum known for controversial TikToks takes kids to Disney World while hurricane threatens deadly conditions. TikToker Cecily Bauchmann sparked backlash after revealing her family trip to Disney World amid Hurricane Milton. And here's the video that Cecily uploaded at the time in case you aren't aware of this situation.
How soon are we leaving?
Oh, that looks good.
1:30, an hour?
In 1 hour.
We're leaving for Florida in 1 hour and I need to pack. Oh, look at all the fall leaves. Let's go.
Yeah, so the rest of the video is just kind of like packing. It's your come pack with me while I go away type video. You know what I'm talking about, right? And obviously, as you can imagine, there was a lot of backlash because of this. So here's a video by the New York Post kind of showing like the reaction and also like Cecily's follow-up video on the situation.
I think it's so crazy after seeing so many videos of people trying to evacuate, trying to get out of Florida, for someone to willingly go to the storm.
Do I regret it? Absolutely. I am very naive when it comes to the way that storms develop.
I realize that I totally regret that I made a decision. I'm very naive about hurricane.
Okay, so you get the point, right? There was a lot of backlash because of this situation, as you would imagine. And again, I just didn't link the two. I didn't realize we were talking about the same person until I saw this video by Shannon. Now, Shannon goes on to give her thoughts on the situation, specifically with Gabby and saying that she's going to leave a review and then having the order cancelled. Obviously, Shannon's response saying the reason we've cancelled your orders because you're going to be defaming us and whatnot. Now, Shannon goes on to say that it's not defamation to leave a review, and in fact, she has every right to leave a review by law.
Not only is it not illegal to give a review of someone online, it is actually protected by the Consumer Review Fairness Act, which is through the Federal Trade Commission. So businesses cannot have policies that punish consumers for reviewing them based on federal law.
And then even goes on to say that limiting people to the reviews could actually be illegal.
So when businesses do certain things to consumers or limit a consumer's ability to fairly review them, good or bad, that's actually illegal.
And then Shannon ends the video with a conclusion, basically saying that what Gabby was doing wasn't defamation, it doesn't fall under defamation, she just wanted to leave a review, and in fact the way that the company has handled this has done more harm to them than good, and this is like a clear example as to why these companies need an attorney to advise them.
So ultimately what this creator wanted to do was not illegal, it was not defamation, particularly because they read from For the Mem's own website, but the problem is that the way that the situation has now been handled has done more harm than good to the brand itself. So the lesson here is that when you are building a brand online and you're building a business online, especially if you are someone who already has a very large platform, you need to have attorneys advising you about the things you can and can't say, the things you can and can't do in situations like this to not only protect yourself, but keep you from actually violating actual laws and committing actual crimes to try to avoid defamation or a bad review.
Yeah, I mean, that clearly makes a lot of sense, especially with this situation, because Samantha sending that message and cancelling the order has done more harm than good for the company. It's made them look bad in a sense, right? Because they don't want people to leave honest reviews. And of course, you shouldn't be sending messages to people, like accusing them of defamation when you haven't spoken to a lawyer, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you that wasn't defamation, because it wasn't, right? She just read the website and said, I'm going to leave a review, I'm going to order the product. And the only reason why I'm saying 9 times out of 10 and not 10 times out of 10 is because we have spoken about some attorneys in the past who might actually say that that is defamation for some reason. But now let's actually talk about Cecily's new video, where she kind of like addresses the hate. She doesn't really mention the pajamas in this, she just kind of says like the hate. But, I mean, all the backlash recently has been because of the pajamas, so you can kind of put 2 and 2 together here. But Cecily starts off this video by saying that there's been a lot of comments saying that she's changed and she moved to, like, a different state, and that they're now blaming Samantha, her sister-in-law, because of this.
My sister-in-law, Samantha, has been dragged into this, saying that she is the one who has corrupted me. No.
And then Cecily goes on to say that this isn't true. She praises Samantha, talks about how kind she is, and just basically gives her a load of praise, right? And says that this backlash is completely untrue. And I think this is kind of all coming from the fact that, remember when we watched the main response video that Cecily and Samantha uploaded? A lot of comments were saying like, oh, Samantha's fuming, Samantha's fuming. And I even sent that video. I don't think she is. Like, I can imagine they're both disappointed, but Samantha specifically didn't scream like fuming to me in the video. Maybe I'm wrong, but that video does seem to be where this kind of all started. Then obviously we have the DMs from Samantha to Gabby saying we're cancelling your order because you're defaming our company, which definitely wasn't a good look. You can kind of see why there was a lot of criticism because of that. But Cecily goes on to say in this video that if you're giving into the rumors, please stop, and then goes on to defend Samantha more.
If you are giving in to the rumors or the gossip, please stop it. I am the same Cecily since San Diego. Samantha is my best friend, and she is one of the most beautiful souls I know, and I love her. It has been a rough year for my husband and I. If you see breaks from me on this app, it's only because I need it for my mental health. I am quick to apologize for my wrongdoings and also ask for forgiveness. And I have, especially this week.
Okay, so the especially this week thing, obviously referring to the pajama stuff. And look, they did definitely address it very quickly. Like, they made the video as soon as there was like a lot of backlash. They lowered the prices by quite a lot. Obviously, because the price was already so high, lowering the prices by quite a lot meant that the prices were still pretty high. But they did do that, you have to be fair. And also, at the end of the day, this situation isn't the biggest situation in the world. It is kind of like the biggest situation on TikTok at the minute in terms of like the public response and how much attention it's getting. Like, all these videos talking about with millions of views. It is a big situation in that sense, but also it is just expensive pajamas, which, I mean, look, if people are getting like the wrong orders and stuff, that is very shitty, but there's definitely been a lot worse stuff that's happened on TikTok. So I don't think that Cecily and Samantha should be getting like loads of hate or anything like that. There is a very clear difference between just hate and then like constructive criticism on a product that they're selling. Okay, so now we actually have some more recent updates regarding Avery Woods. Now, if you remember, there was a comment on Cecily's video where she's addressing like the pajama drama that basically said, why didn't Avery Woods get the hate that Cecily is getting? She basically did the same thing. And Cecily liked this comment, and a lot of the replies were basically saying like, oh, wait, aren't you friends? Like, this is a bit odd. You've been in a podcast, you said you're really close friends. Why are you kind of liking a comment that says Avery Woods should get hate? Well, Avery Woods has recently released a new podcast. Her podcast is called Cheers with Avery. It's episode 52, where she goes on to talk about this situation. And she says, I don't usually talk about stuff like this, but it's different because it's a personal friend.
Address hate head on. I never like make dedicated videos or give it attention because people always have some shit to say and it dies off. Okay. But when it comes from a personal friend or someone that you speak to quite often.
Yeah. Multiple times a week.
Yeah.
And then Avery kind of explains her friendship with Cecily. She says she checks up on her very often. Obviously, in the last clip, we just heard that they speak multiple times a week.
The screenshots I have of text message after text message checking in on this person every time she gets heat online. The voice memos, like, that I literally was looking through messages all the way since January the other day.
And then Avery goes on to explain the differences between Cecily and Samantha releasing this For the Mems pajama line, their own clothing brand, and then what Avery did, which is what the comment was alluding to, where she collabed with an already established brand and did like a partnership. They released like a custom hoodie with this brand.
Mayfair is a very well-established company that celebrities wear, okay? Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, they love it. I've seen multiple other celebrities, Bella Hadid, you name it, okay? And the owner of Mayfair, who's a good friend of mine, is such a business boss bitch.
Oh,
and
so
she
amazing.
deserves all the success in the world. And there's a reason why they're so successful is because the quality is insane.
Totally.
Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that final bit right there is the important bit, right? If you're charging more for a product, the main thing is the quality. Yes, if your pieces of clothing are much better quality than others, they're going to cost more. And that's kind of like the problem with the pajamas, right? People are saying that they're not very good quality. They're just at a higher price for the sake of being a higher price. And then obviously there's a difference between like Cecily and Samantha having their own clothing brand where they decide the price, and then Avery Woods, who is collaborating with a clothing brand that's just selling clothes at their normal price. But now at this point in the podcast, Avery Woods goes on to talk about the comment specifically, and she says that it was liked and it was stayed up there for hours.
The comment was up and liked publicly for 5 hours before it was deleted.
And then says people were assuming that Avery Woods must have like screwed over Cecily and they'd fell out, and this is the reason why Cecily is now speaking out against Avery.
All of the comments below it were insinuating that our friendship had fallen out, that I had done something to her to like piss her off for her to like that comment. Yeah. And she just left them all there. Trying to assume that I'm the bad guy. Like our friendship fell out because I was some shitty person or I wasn't a good friend to her. So she liked the comment. No. And I got texts for days to show the relationship that we have.
100%.
And then Avery even goes on to explain that she's also helped Cecily's sister-in-law, Samantha, and like gives an example of a time that Samantha was able to come on a brand trip away with them because Avery like tried like pulling some strings to get her invited.
Inviting her on my first ever brand trip I hosted with ColourPop. But then the best part was that I didn't even follow her sister-in-law at the time. I wasn't familiar with her content. I don't even know if I knew who she was. And she told me, yeah, I want to go, but can you invite my sister-in-law? And so I called my team. I pulled a bunch of strings with the ColourPop team, and I got her invited so she would come on the trip and feel included, like she had someone to travel with. And I know that she's talked to me in the past about wanting to go on more brand trips and stuff. I wanted to include you. Like, I wanted you to be there because you were my friend.
That's the kind of person you are.
And then Avery goes on to explain that she did message Cecily about this. She was kind of ignored for a little bit. She got, like, a very short reply back, and then the comment was deleted, to which Avery thinks that Cecily should have done more.
I did send her the video, and she read it and didn't respond to me for probably 45 minutes. And she sent a short text. I did not respond. But then I go to her video, and she deleted the comment that she liked. which again, I thought was a very poor move. Like, instead of unliking the comment or responding to it, like, Avery has nothing to do with my pajama line. There's no reason why her name was brought into it. I shouldn't have liked it. It would have been squashed.
100%.
Squashed personally, squashed on social media. It has now become this huge thing because you just deleted the comment.
Totally.
You still have yet to publicly be like, she has nothing to do with this. I should have never supported that comment. Avery's been nothing but a great friend. We've never had any drama of any sort.
Never.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to assume here that Avery clearly isn't very happy with the fact that the comment was liked and left up for so long. It seems like maybe their relationship has took a hit because of it. She's obviously saying here now, if it was addressed differently, it would have been squashed, which obviously suggests that it's not been squashed, and they probably fell out from this is what I'm guessing, right? But we'll see what happens at this point. But it's just another example of how things could have been handled differently, and the backlash wouldn't have been anywhere near what it was if it was just left at this video addressing the prices and lowering the prices. It would have went so much better, I feel like. Then there's the comment being liked. Obviously now Avery supporters are voicing their opinions too. There's a message as well, cancelling orders. There's just a lot of things that are adding together right now that just aren't looking particularly great. But yeah, that is the most recent update we have. And I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below, because like I said, this is probably going to be the last video, I assume, like talking about the situation. So let me know your thoughts on the situation in total, including the last few videos. And yeah, if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye.